Yeah, so I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood, I see. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about
it. And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood. Most abundant and successful king hero that we are all sitting with at this very moment. Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
all these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Access Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood. Hello, friends and enemies of YouTube. Children of the Metaverse. It is I, Access Rattblood. And I took a journey here recently, and I've been able to take some introspective look, and even got to have soundboard interaction to get some feedback off of the general state of what I pursue, what I endeavor in. And I've come to share this information. I have to take into consideration the concept of should all information be given out and distributed equally, freely, and should it be ready available to anyone? Then I had to question myself with the information that I have and where I've allowed myself to journey and allowed myself to go. And I come up with a kind of a conclusion to where I stand with this. And I'm going to share it as best as I can, as much as I can tonight. And we'll see how many of you find a measure of yourselves and how many of you dare to test the grounds of their limitations and venture into the unknown realms of potential insanity and all that it has to offer with its wide range of possibilities. It's quite the adventure, and peculiar thing is being able to transcend both spectrums of, the it's like I'm buffering here. Hold on, having a bit of a technical issue behind the scenes. Let me just throw a song up real quick while I take care of this issue. I don't know if you guys are experiencing it on your end. If somebody would let me know in the chat, because on my end, there are some absolutely strange possibilities happening. So give me just one moment. Okay, I think we got that resolved now. Anyhow, as I was saying, I take transcendental advantage of being able to be both dark and light and all spectrums in between. Um, I push the boundaries of sacred protocols and try to exceed them. I also try to deliver as best that I can a small insight into my endeavors because for some reason I had a concern that maybe somebody would push their own boundaries, maybe potentially discover uh, new horizons, and this could cause them some type of psychological damage or cause them to lose touch with reality. And I'm not going to withhold that tonight. I'm going to show you exactly how to measure yourself, take measure of others, and I'm going to show you your massively pathetic limitations that you have set in place for yourselves and that you hide behind. Um, and generally, with even the small amount of information that I reveal, people run from. Um, when you start playing with people's sanity protocols and the basic perceived environmental stimulation that could be less than advantageous to your well-being, whether it is or not, uh, they seem to want to elude that type of information, such as when I introduce frequency information. Um, I was able to demonstrate and show that I could use frequencies on open platforms and I could alter the cerebral state of anyone that was subjected to those frequencies. And I had full range and control of what frequencies I chose to subject them to. And it was an incredibly fun experience to watch certain people deny that it was possible, to watch other people think that they were so emboldened and powered that it would have no effect on them. And I watched the others who fear immediately came into effect and they ran from it. They didn't want anything to do with it and therefore demonized something that has really no classification as to whether it's good or bad. It's no different than if you turn the radio on and you're being hit with sound frequencies and vibrations that cause you to feel a certain way. That is undeniable. It is absolutely provable. And that's why you do it. You will turn on the radio and you will listen to something that causes your state of being, your mental state of being, to sometimes experience love songs, sometimes metal songs, uh, whatever your genre may be, and you'll expose yourself to these frequencies, and being fully aware that it's changing your state of mind. you endeavor forward because it's harmless. Then there are certain realms of it where if you're in a less than productive state of mind and you introduce certain songs, it will inflame rage, it will inflame anger, and it will almost allow you to overcome certain uh, certain states that you probably wouldn't go to. Uh, music is a very powerful thing, especially when it's introduced to a mind that's already uh, enamored with an ideal or a concept. It's just music inflames temperament, and that's all I was doing was taking frequencies, which are mostly found in music, and at an inaudible level, and sometimes at an audible level, introducing them into certain arenas of social media, and watching how just as if you were listening to a song in an inflamed state of mind, I was able to utilize these frequencies and tones and basically alter a person's state. And people demonized it. Um, some people ran from it. Some people didn't even, with the obvious, easy explanation that I just gave you, proclaim that it didn't even exist, that it was bullshit. And they were the easiest ones to manipulate. They were the easiest ones to influence with frequencies. They were the easiest ones to alter their state of being at that point in time. But that's just a physical aspect. That is just a little something that I was playing with. As it started out as a defensive thing because I didn't like the frequencies and the influences of my localized environment and what I was being subjected to. So I endeavored to find something to neutralize these frequencies so that I would not be influenced by them, kind of like fighting fire with fire, using the master's tools to tear down the master's house. And that allowed me the space that I needed to pursue my true endeavors. And my true endeavors are an internal one. Humans are born with and develop by learned behavior and information received states that they find to be safe. So they set up what I call safety protocols, which are places they don't go. And this is very evident in such things as the Christian church. If there's something that can alter or change the message of the Christian church in a direction that they don't want you to go, then they will attach a name to it: Lucifer, Satan, the devil, evil. And immediately your mind will start setting up safety protocols to keep you from going to those places. You will find them to be taboo or against your indoctrination or whatever it is that you choose to believe. And when these things make an appearance, such as witchcraft, metaphysics, certain symbology, various other religions, beliefs, and systems of conduct, they reach that point to where they recognize it as being evil, or what they have been told is evil, or unacceptable because it has some type of stigmata attached to it, they run from it. They do not engage it. They do not embrace it, understand it, find out why there's some type of irrational, to my notion, fear of it, and proceed forward. Now, an observation of this and an explanation of it is I keep snakes. I have a rat that is my best friend. He stays right beside me. Very, very well-mannered rat. Very socially interactive. And I have a snake, one particularly that I keep out in the open, and it bites. It is a very inhospitable snake to social interaction. And as I have people that come here for my health care, they are gravitated towards the snake. They're almost mesmerized by the snake. And I let them know, this snake bites. It's not a friendly snake. It's a natural snake. And it's going to do what snakes do naturally. But the rat is very friendly. It will eat out of your hand and, it will interact with you. But I'm watching as these people and the new healthcare workers that I have that came in as a temporary immediately gravitated towards the snake. And I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, that's saying a lot about someone being able to recognize their fear, because they're not going to reach in there and touch it. They're not going to pick it up. Their interaction with the snake is gotten to the point now where I've had 2 healthcare workers come in, and they could not resist but to try and feed this snake, to water this snake. They sat mesmerized at this snake. And knowing the whole time that if they reach their hand in there, they're going to get bit. And today, well, no, this was yesterday, the new healthcare worker that come in couldn't resist but to run to the pet store, get some mice, and almost do a waltz with this snake, trying to get these mice into the cage without getting bit. And I thought, are they trying to overcome their fear? Are they dancing with the devil that they've created? World's filled with snakes. It's just that this one happens to be close enough for them to interact with. And I'm observing them both stating that they have a great fear of snakes, but they cannot resist trying to have some type of interaction with this snake. Now, mind you, the poor rat, the social animal that I have, that really enjoys attention, I'm sure it would love to be, hammered after and fed, loved. But Rat sits quietly with me over here observing the snake get all the attention. And as I watch these these healthcare workers interact with this fear, this snake, trying to overcome it. There's a point where they stop. Hey, fools and tools, man, you are wired for sound. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Um, yeah, I'm removing all the safety protocols from the show tonight. So if anyone goes insane, that's on you. You should have started learning how to expand beyond your own limits and limitations years ago, because at some point the mind does not react well to sudden change, and it does seem to snap. And I have found this in several people that I have interacted with. But as always, Fools and Fools, you are a much welcomed guest here, and you are always welcomed on the panel and the chat. And I don't, hold on, we've got to do this. I don't know why. You should be, you should have moderation. You should be a moderator. I don't know. I'm not sure what. Maybe I'll go here and be able to do that. But anyhow, shit. Okay. Well, anyhow, I Okay, hold on. I think I may have come to a solution here. Are you guys getting me in the stream or in the chat at all? Am I coming through? Obviously, I'm being cyberbullied by algorithms and all the other powers that be. All right, 5 by 5. That's what I like. Okay, good. Because I really, really did not want to lose the beginning of this stream. Okay, but anyhow, as I was saying, with the snakes and the interaction that I was watching, because I've had several people that I only have healthcare workers in my home. I try to keep any type of outside influences out of my home, and if I don't like the energy of a healthcare worker, I will not allow them to stay. I will dismiss them. And so I've had many encounters with people coming into my personal space, and if the decor or the aesthetics of the place frightens them, they generally excuse themselves very quickly. And those that can endure the ambiance of my dwelling, then they start to observe things in my surroundings, and the snake being one of them. And like I said, I'm not sure. I'm pretty positive that it's them trying to overcome their fear of being bitten by this snake, and because it's in a safe place, it's in a cage. Um, they want to tempt it. They want to kind of push the odds with something that they have a fear of. And I'm not saying with certain snakes you shouldn't have a natural fear of. For the nature of certain snakes are, less than beneficial to humans. On the surface, yeah, you can get bit, poisoned, and certain snakes are just really have nasty dispositions whenever they're being messed with. But this particular snake, the worst it's going to be is probably like being stung by a wasp. You're going to feel it, but it's not going to do any damage. It has no venom. It's not a venomous snake, and it squeezes its prey to death. And they love to watch it eat, which is another thing that I watched them almost like watching a gory movie. They love to watch this snake eat. So they approach the snake, allowing me to know that they have this fear of snakes, which this snake would be an irrational fear. They want to interact with this snake, knowing that they're absolutely terrified of it. And then they become mesmerized at its movement and watching it eat, watching it take a life from another living thing, reticulate it, kill it, and consume it. And I've had in-homes that have taken pictures of it eating. It's almost as if they're living out some type of scenario in their head, or some type of psychological perception of this thing killing and eating. And I'm curious as to maybe if somehow they aren't putting themselves in place of that mouse or the snake, or third-party disposition to this, because really, they have no business um, with a snake whatsoever, unless they're going to take ownership of it. Which, I did allow one in home that if they could get past their fear of it, handle it, treat it properly, and nourish it, I would give it to them. And needless to say, that never happened. Um, but as for me, I've learned from the snake. I've learned from my rat. I've learned from my lizards and reptiles and all the things that even my dogs were great teachers. Um, but I didn't have an irrational fear. Even when I kept venomous snakes, that was a rational fear. And I took great precautions when I would feed them. But as far as, a non-venomous snake, and to watch these people approach it the way that they do, I'm thinking, do they approach their own thoughts with such discretion? When they're having thoughts that bring them to a point where they're either indoctrinated not to go any further, or they're taught to fear it, or they have an irrational fear of it, or it's something that the mind itself doesn't want to have to face within them, that they just kind of shove it off and build up baggage. And over the years, this baggage just keeps building up, and they don't ever confront it. They don't ever analyze it. They don't go inside to do the work to understand the baggage, the reason, the cause, the effect. They don't do the work. And so these people are the majority. Definitely the majority. Because I've spent a lot of time removing safety protocols. And the recent endeavor that I went into, helping someone remove safety protocols, pretty much they snap. Like a rubber band, they snap right back into a state of safety. So I know that there is definite effect to the endeavors that I'm pursuing, and I'm gonna try and allay how to get past these safety protocols to you with some type of verbal style and grace. It's not going to be easy, because a lot of things that I endeavor in really don't have a manual or vocabulary to explain. Either you're minded and can grasp, or you have yet to develop that, or may never develop that ability within yourself. And you may become hardened and brittle, that if you were to flex that particular state of being, you would absolutely snap. And the first one is coming to terms with be true to yourself, because you are the only one experiencing this journey. So you got to be true to you. And once you can get past lying to yourself, which is the first step, is you got to quit believing things that aren't true. And you've got to stop with the allowing people to set up safety protocols for you. You have to determine those for yourself and remove them as needed and necessary. Once you stop lying to yourself, then get to know yourself. And that doesn't require outside influence. That doesn't require sounding board. That requires you to completely spend a lot of time in silence, alone with yourself, and find out how much garbage, trash, and baggage that you've gathered up through the years and allowed to store inside of your recalled memories and accessible information. Once you get past the point of knowing yourself, then become aware of yourself, which is true to the fact of know thyself. And for a lot of people, when they start endeavoring on learning the reasons why they do things they do, and the reasons why they shelter themselves in such ways and try to seek the most comfortable state, is usually because of there's a lot of trauma involved. There's a lot of denial. There's a lot of things that people choose not to face because they make it a bigger monster than it is, such as the snake in the cage, which poses absolutely no threat. But they will bounce off of that trauma, or they will bounce off of that particular state that they have found themselves in that they can't get past. And confronting these things and removing them so that you can find that calm, quiet you that exists underneath of everything, the observer, the one that is going along for the ride and sees everything, but does not actually interfere. That would be more your subconscious and your awakening state of mind, and some type of learned reasoning that you've developed. And generally, learned reasoning comes with its own set of protocols and safety stock. And I challenge each individual who hears this to first off examine how much of what you know and what you believe is infactual. It holds no actual truth. It is irrational thinking because it is not solidified. It is just it's just an observable state of possibilities that you might be afraid of. And you've chose to accept a lie, a falsehood, or something to substitute the hard, cold fact of what is and what isn't. And if you can push past that, and you can learn to sit quietly with yourself and discover what actually makes you tick. Why would you hesitate? And this is from a third party of observation of those who interacted with and have interacted with my snake. What keeps you, if you can sit quietly and learn yourself, from being able to just reach in to the cage, knowing that there's no danger, there's no threat, it's only your fear, and pick the snake up. I do it all the time. The snake is, by me, very handleable. I know which end bites. I guess other people are confused by that. And after handling it for a little bit, it becomes docile. But they don't know this. They haven't reached in, held the snake, overcome themselves, and interacted with it to the point where it no longer strikes and it starts to explore and it starts to study its environment. And naturally, its basic uh, instinctive desire is to one, elude, escape, or evade, and then its other desires are food and water and self-preservation, which is why the snake bites in the first place. It's out of fear, because that snake doesn't know whether you're going to do it harm or not. And I imagine, as what I've seen, whenever people get bit, they tend to react. To me, it is quite amusing. They become very irrational, flailing around, and sometimes the snake can get hurt because they're freaking out. And that happens in the mind. When you approach boundaries in your mind and you find yourself in places where you are told that are forbidden or evil, or places you shouldn't go, or things you shouldn't think about because of some irrational indoctrination that you've chosen and that you've put in place, you will find that that is your limitation. That's as far as you're going to go. You're not going to go any further than that. And for most people, it's a very minuscule realm that they operate in, because that realm of any type of safety or perceived safety is kept guarded by them, and they will only operate within the realms of those safety zones. That's why people don't endeavor to go into I don't know. Uh, we'll take something as simple as metaphysics and witchcraft. The basis to metaphysics and witchcraft is just it walks hand in hand with science. There is a system of equations that create the effects that people call witchcraft or spells or spell casting, or whatever that may be, but it's still held within the realm of generalized rational thinking outcome, such as prayer. When people go to church and they all pray, and they all pray for their safety and their family's safety, and this state of wellness, state of being okay. But they play with this at the expense of an inevitable end. And if you've ever heard the Christians discuss the apocalypse or the revelations, they have manifested through written word this horrific ideal of some terrible end of the world scenario with demons and devils and angels and gods, but in the meantime they go to church and they pray for the best. The best what? It's just manifesting a potential, and your prayer is no different than a suggestion put into the ether. And it's the same as a mantra. It's the same as chanting. It's the same as going through a ritual. It's all the fucking same concept when it comes to the basis of this operation. It is suggestion outside of yourself, and it is things hoped for until you learn how to actually bring them into being. But you won't ever be able to do that as long as you're living off of a set of safety protocols that keep you from being able to do that. So that information is withheld from you by your own choice, by your own means. And whenever you start venturing past the forbidden, when you start going to places that your mind doesn't want you to go, whether that be trauma that you've experienced, lots of that going on, dark places that reside within your own being that you may not be able to rationalize that. Why am I feeling this? Why am I experiencing this? Why am I thinking this? What, I got to get away from this type of thinking. I've got to escape to a safe place inside my head where these thoughts aren't. But they are. They don't live in some different universe inside your head. They're in there with you. And they are just as tangible as any other thought. You can just choose to avoid interacting with them or pondering them or reasoning them or discovering why you're even thinking in that manner. And this is just an internal first step to breaking down protocols, to breaking down the walls that you've imprisoned yourself in. I watch a lot of panels in the past, and they present dangers, possibilities, and potential. Fear mongering, fear porn. Then you've got the entire sect of people who want to experience nothing but this positive flow of life and energy, and that's not going to take you anywhere either. Until you start experiencing the full spherical nature of things and the all of things, you are limited by your own inability to deal with you. You are your own obstacle, and you set your boundaries and you will live by them, and that is the measure of you. I had an experience here recently where I had that nasty, pink, fuzzy, warm drug called love infect my mind. And just like any other drug, it comes, it has its effects, and then it eventually wears off and goes away. And it's just an emotional state. I had to rationalize it and deal with it because I tried to avoid falling into that state as much as possible. It's a wonderful feeling. I'm sure it's just like any other drug that you take, or any song that you listen to that you enjoy. It has, pleasurable. It's mind. Pleasurable to engage in. But just as with all the devil's candy, it has a price to pay. And it's whether you want to pay that price for that feeling or that experience. As to whether you're going to be able to endeavor upon it or not. And most people aren't willing to pay for anything if they can get it free, which is the same as information and knowledge. They want to pack themselves full of all this flashy idealism and these concepts of thinking. And then they want to display it almost like a plume of beautiful feathers that they seem to have acquired. And then they set out in a field of humans to stand above, or some people even seek to help other humans. And some people seek to harm other humans too. I mean, both ways. But in actuality, you're still an individual observer, and it's mental masturbation. And the only person getting jerked off is you. And you will use other people as sounding boards to reflect on your limitations. You will use other people to find out the measurement of them and where they start and stop, and also yourself. And you got to start removing those to truly learn what you are and aren't. A lot of people like to believe that other people's position in their life is meaningful or is so significant that it's without measure. But believe me, it has a measure. It definitely has a measure. And whenever you put it up against an unmeasurable possibility, it will reveal itself immediately. If you offer a person I don't even know if I'm still coming through. I'm still having technical difficulties behind the scenes here. I'm not sure, but anyhow, I'm going to restart this stream and take what information is here and at least ponder it, encapsulate it, and try and digest it if you can. And just because of technical issues that I am experiencing pretty heavily, I'm going to restart the stream.